Hey guys, Mr. Milson here. Today we are going to talk about midsegments. In this video you should be able to explain what a midsegment is and give it special properties, and you should be able to use midsegments to find missing measures. A midsegment is a segment connecting the midpoint of two sides. Okay, and so XY is a midsegment. And we should be able to see that XY is a midsegment because we see here because MX is congruent to XP and PY is congruent to YN, we can tell that X is a midpoint and Y is a midpoint. Okay, and a midsegment connects two midpoints. So XY is a midsegment. Okay, in the next figure, they're going to ask us if DE is a midsegment. Okay, and here we'd say no. And the reason we'd say no is there's no sign or no indication that D and E are midpoints. Okay, I know it looks like it's in the middle, but we can never use the eye test, I guess, to see. There needs to be something that says these are midpoints. Okay, the triangle midsegment theorem. Then, since we know what midsegments are, let's talk about their properties. The triangle midsegment theorem says if a triangle has a midsegment, then it is parallel to the third side, and is half the length of the third side. Okay, another way of saying number 2 is that the third side is double the length of the midsegment, or twice the length of the midsegment. So as we're here, I'm going to an example using for the triangle midsegment theorem at the bottom of the page. It says find X. Now this is how I recommend you going through this. What is the length of DE? Okay, looking at this diagram, we know BC is 6, so we're going to say, okay, DE has to be 12. Double that. And so now I'm going to use this answer and say, okay, I know DE is 12, so I'm going to say X minus 1 equals 12. I can find out that X is 13. Okay, so not terribly difficult. Flipping to the back side, working with some more complex problems. First one, we need to find the value of X, given that AY is equal to AX and BY is equal to BZ. So, the important part about this is AY, AX, BY, BZ. We can add the markings there that say, hey, this is a midsegment. Okay, and that helps us out because we know that the midsegment is half the sides it's parallel to. So 3x minus 1 is half of 34. So I would start this off and say, okay, 3x minus 1 is half of 34. That's 34 divided by 2, 17. So 3x equals 18, and x will equal 6. All right. Next example says find the perimeter of triangle ABC given that D, E, and F are midpoints. So basically saying, hey, all these segments in here are midsegments. And that helps us because, again, we know that these midsegments are half the length of their parallel sides. So if DF is 3, what side is it parallel to? Well, DF is parallel to BC. So 3 is half of BC. That means I know that BC is 6. If DE is 8, it's parallel to AB. I know that AB is 16, 8 times 2. And then if EF is 7, its parallel side, AC, should be double that, which is 14. And then we just go through and add them. 14 plus 6 is 20. 20 plus 16 is 36. The perimeter of triangle ABC is 36. Okay. Now it says, how does the perimeter of triangle ABC compare to the perimeter of triangle DEF? So ABC should be double. It's double the size of DEF, which makes sense because DEF is made up of all midsegments, and midsegments are half of the parallel side. So kind of consistent. Not kind of consistent. Yes, it is consistent. All right. For the next examples, find the values of the variables. Here we go. So for x, start with x. X is here. You see that these are midpoints. And so x should be half of its parallel side. Its parallel side is 28. So x will be 14. Here we see that 15 is also a midsegment. Okay, and it should be half of y plus 6. So y plus 6 then should be 30. So y will be 24. Okay, number 2 doesn't show us that the line's a midsegment, but it does tell us. It says this line is a midsegment. So no guessing for us here. This is a little bit more difficult, but we'll show how it goes. So we have x plus 4, which is a midsegment, and 4x minus 2. We need to find x. Well, what I know about midsegment is that it is half of its parallel side, or this parallel side is double this midsegment. I'm going to use that for my equation. Okay, because double the midsegment should equal its parallel side. So 2 times x plus 4 equals 4x minus 2. Now I'm just solving it. Solving an equation that's set up. That'll give me 2x equals 10, and x will equal 5. 9, 18. Okay, that works out. Alright, solving for y, remember that this is a midsegment, so that means that this must be a midpoint. So 4y equals 6y minus 1. Okay, remember to distribute that, 6y minus 6. So negative 2y equals negative 6, and y will equal 3. Finally, it says, what is the measure of angle VUT given that V and U are midpoints? Explain. Alright, so here we go. Let's say these are midpoints. Okay, mark that. Okay. Because these are midpoints, that means VU is a midsegment. That means that these two lines are parallel. Okay? Anytime you have parallel lines and you're dealing with angles, you need to be thinking alternate interior angles, corresponding angles, same side interior angles. And so, VUT, I'm going to say that these two angles are corresponding, so they're congruent. This is 81 degrees. Okay. That doesn't answer my question because VUT is here. I'll just mark it as X. Okay, but 81 plus 32 plus X should equal 180. And so that's what? 113 plus X equals 180. And so that means X will be 67 degrees. Measure of angle VUT is 67 degrees. Okay, because they're parallel, we should have corresponding angles, and then we can use the triangle angle sum theorem that says all triangles add up to 180 to find out that X is 67. Alright, write that out in your own words, bring it in for your notes, and I'll see you.